Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Make sure you like the live stream on the way in. And today's live stream is about the black women in professional wrestling during the 1960s. And then after we get through and after we get through with that, we're going to be we're going to spend a little time talking about why certain black male wrestlers never reached the top of professional wrestling. Um, yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing today. Um, um, as of right now, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show a video of Will Darren's telling the story of black women in professional wrestling. I'm gonna go ahead and try and find it right now. Hey, this is one of at least at least um two videos that I'm going to show you about this, and then and then after this we're going to switch. We're going to talk about why certain. Or I'm going to show you four videos of why I believe that certain black male wrestlers never made it to the top of the professional wrestling industry. But as of right now, I'm gonna play this video talking about the story of black women wrestlers in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. Here we go. The story that needs to be told. From New York, up in Harlem. Jackie Reed goes inside her story. Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Sybil. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Kim. Good morning, everybody. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to myself. Tell everybody to go to vegansexycool.com and get your vegan life. Check out all my great articles on there when you get a chance. Tom, the TV show Glow. Have you heard of this?
Yes, I love Glow.
Right? It's a popular show on Netflix.
I love it.
It's a great show. I just had their second season.
Yeah.
It's about the history of women in wrestling based in the 1970s. But long before that era, there were black women in the ring dominating the sport of wrestling. There's a new documentary based on their story. It's called Lady Wrestlers, the amazing untold story of African American women in the ring. I'm going inside her story with the film creator, Chris Bournet. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Tom Joyner and family.
Well, Let me ask you right off the bat, why did you want to tell this story?
Because this story is, it's a long, these women have faded into obscurity. And when I found out about these women, I just thought their story needs to be told not only here in the United States, but internationally. They just have a story that transcends race, and it just needs to get out to the world.
How'd you find out about it?
Well, I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, which coincidentally is hosting the Democratic presidential debate tonight. And I never knew about these women. Yeah, I never knew about these women.
Go on, Chris. You say you never knew about these women?
Yeah, I never knew about these women. I'm African American, but I grew up in the African American community, but never found out about them until I started working as a print journalist. And a friend of mine, Terry Anderson, who's also an African American man, he called me. He works in public relations, and he said, "Hey, here's a story about this really interesting lady I grew up with. Her name's Ethel Johnson, and I think she was some kind of wrestler or bodybuilder." So I sat down and interviewed her. This was in December of 2005. And she had all these amazing stories of going all over the world as a professional wrestler in her teens in the 50s and 60s. And when she traveled like to Australia and Canada and places like that, she'd be treated like a queen. But when she traveled in the South, she'd have to go in the back door of restaurants. She'd have to deal with Jim Crow segregation. So I wrote her story for the Columbus Dispatch, the local daily newspaper. And when it came out, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the famous actor, he holds a fitness expo every March here in Columbus, and his people read the story and called me and said, "Hey, we want to give Ethel Johnson a Lifetime Achievement Award. We never knew women like her existed." Ethel, by this time, was a retired grandmother who did not like the limelight, and she said, "Thanks, but no thanks." Mm-hmm. And I just thought, I said, her story and the story of women like her needs to go beyond a single newspaper story. And I just thought, I always say, it didn't take Orson Welles to their story was cinematic. So I asked her, I said, "Miss Ethel, would you be willing to be interviewed on camera?" And she said yes. So in the course of my research, I found out that there were dozens of African American women who were world famous professional wrestlers back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
What was Miss Ethel's wrestling name?
Her actual given name, she was married, so her given name was Ethel Harrison. But she had to use Ethel Johnson as her wrestling name.
Oh yeah, they didn't have flashing names.
Well, some of the African American women did. Like there was one called, I believe, the African Pussycat, and there was Sweet Georgia Brown.
Of course.
So there were some that used, kind of outrageous wrestling names. But Ethel's two sisters were also wrestlers. Her older sister, Babs Wingo, recruited Ethel, and then they recruited.
Hang on, everyone. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I had to check on something real quick. All right, let's get back to the video.
Recruited their younger sister, Marvin Scott, so they just used different last names. They didn't want the audience to know they were sisters because they thought, if they know we're sisters, they'll think we'll be easy on each other. Was far from the case. They were very, very competitive.
Did these women fight each other, other Black women, other African American women, or did they ever fight white wrestlers?
Yeah, so a lot of times, let me back up a little bit. So how women's wrestling got started here in Columbus was a promoter, a white man named Billy Wolf, who plucked from obscurity this white female wrestler named Mildred Burke and made her the first world women's wrestling champion. So he saw that Mildred would need competitors, and there weren't just women wrestlers walking around, on every street corner. So he started recruiting women into his business, and he was inspired by Jackie Robinson, and he thought Jackie Robinson helped bring a lot of attention and a lot more excitement to baseball. And he thought the same would happen if he started recruiting Black women. So that's how he originally recruited Babs Wingo. And so he would send these women out all over the world, and yes, they would wrestle each other. but Bath, Ethel's older sister, was the first. She did the first interracial championship with Mildred. It was sometime in the 50s. So they would be on cards with white men. They would wrestle white men, but I mean, they'd wrestle black women, they'd wrestle white women. And Ethel talks in the documentary how some of the most blatant racism she got was from other women. The white women said, we don't want you going on the mat with us. Ethel, the daughter of Marva, Ethel's younger sister, Kim Martin, talks about when her mother went to Japan, the Japanese wrestlers would see her and say, Negro, greasy hair, greasy hair. So they got a lot of racism from the other women.
And wasn't there one like Top Billing with Gorgeous George and all of those types of people?
So back then, the wrestling promoters would put men and women and black women and white men on the same card because they wanted to cause controversy. That's what the wrestling business is all about,
Sure.
is being controversial and sensational. So yes, absolutely.
Storylines, because I watched Glow, and the thing about wrestling is there's always a storyline. Did they have racist storylines?
I don't know if they so much had racist storylines, but they had tag team partners. And yes, some of it was choreographed, but I mean, these women were real athletes. Billy Wolf, he had this formula. Actually, a journalist named Jeff Weems who wrote this book about Mildred Burke, talked about this formula that I came across in my research called Sex, Muscles, and Diamonds. So the women had to have sex appeal, they had to have real athletic ability, they had to know all the holes, and the diamonds was they had to look like glamorous movie stars outside of the ring. They weren't allowed to wear black. It was sort of like how Barry Gordy kind of had his Motown act go through that etiquette training where they weren't allowed to smoke cigarettes, they weren't allowed to use profanity or badmouth people. So they did have storylines, but it was much less choreographed and much less quote unquote fake than it is today.
Chris,
how'd you be a real athlete?
How'd you track down the footage that you have for this documentary of these women actually wrestling?
Yeah, so actually, so Ken Martin, Martha Scott's daughter, actually gave me some of the footage. And then I did a lot of the research at the University of Notre Dame, and that was through Jeff Weems, who wrote the book about Mildred Burke. He said, if you're serious about doing research about wrestling, you need to go to the University of Notre Dame. So they have this library with, there was this wrestling promoter named Jack Stepper, who was, I call him an organized pack rat. And luckily, he saved everything. I mean, there were just bankers boxes and bankers boxes worth of, old newspaper clippings that were clippings and press clippings and footage that was just sitting collecting dust. And so I came and said, hey, I'd like to unearth this stuff for a documentary I'm doing.
And how long did it take you to go through all this stuff and do the groundwork as far as and then the editing of all this? How long is that process?
It took years, not because it actually took that long, because I was working a day job.
You have a real job, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so I was, I started off working on the documentary in 2006 and finally just finished like a final cut in 2018. So it was working on and off, and we had like a rough cut and a screening for the ladies and for the wrestling women and their families in 2012 at a historic theater here in Columbus named Lincoln, and they were just the women and their families were just so complimentary and were saying, thank you for getting our story out, and appreciate you, getting us the due that we never got. And a lot of these women have not been, inducted to Wrestling Hall of Fame, and they need to be.
And if they had not liked the film, do you think they could have taken you? They still have it.
Chris, where can we see the movie, Chris? Where can we see it?
It's going to be streaming this Thursday in Philadelphia. It's going to be released soon on streaming and DVD. So LadyWrestlingMovie.com is where you can find all these details.
LadyWrestlersMovie.com?
LadyWrestlingMovie.com, yes.
Yes. LadyWrestlersMovie.com. Okay, Chris Bournet, thank you so much. What a great story.
Thank you all.
Love
Thank
it.
you so much for having me on. Thank you.
That's wonderful.
I apologize for flirting in. I'm Kim Whitley and I'm from Cleveland. I apologize.
And she could take one.
Yes. Thank you.
And I love Glow on Netflix. I'm probably the only person I've ever known to watch it.
Southern fried chicken or shrimp? Why not both? Who's got the sauce? Zaxby's.
Yeah. But that right there is that right there is the, if y'all watch the video, y'all will see, they were talking about women's wrestlers from the 1970s, but they also added the women from the 60s as well. And I think that it's time that their stories get told. Because again, you know, like I said, I didn't even know the story about Ethel Johnson until I started to read about it. And I did not know that she faced, you know, that type of racism. I didn't, I didn't know it. I didn't know that, you know, they faced that type of racism until I actually saw, it for myself. I was like, wait a minute. So there were black women in professional wrestling back then. That was like I couldn't even believe my own eyes when I saw that. I couldn't even believe it. There were black women in professional wrestling. And the thing of it is, it's like they, I couldn't believe they tried to hide it. That's the thing about it. They actually tried to hide it. How you doing?
Hey Alex, how you doing, brother? How you been?
I'm doing good.
All right, it's good to see you, brother. Like it's a great topic, man. Great stuff that you got going on here. We said what I know. I said I was gonna come, so I'm here to support you, brother. Definitely here to support you.
And thank you. I'm yeah, like in the first video I did, I didn't know that there were black women in professional wrestling until I did my research on it and stuff like that. That first video is like like it. I think there is more to the story of black women being in professional wrestling back then, because as I played the video, I was like, wait, so back then the black women wrestlers faced racism as well. I was like, because it's like sometimes I feel like that, you know, well, I was a kid growing up. I didn't know that there were black women in professional wrestling in the 1960s, though.
Yeah, one of the things, Alex, is that for black men and black women, back then during those times, look like a lot of the stuff that we did do, it wasn't publicized, and that was done on purpose. It was a lot of mistreatment done toward us as a people, brother. So I'm definitely not surprised that there were actually black women who were professional wrestlers. It's just that we just don't know about them, and see, that's on purpose. Like, all that's on purpose. Because during that time, if you can remember, that was during that civil rights, that whole civil rights movement. And before that, look, it wasn't a whole lot of publicity for black men or black women, really. And so yeah, brother, yeah, I definitely, what I mean, can see why, you would think that, oh, I didn't know, that it was, that black women were in professional wrestling. So, but yeah, I'm actually not surprised, because the way that they used to do black people back then, it doesn't surprise me that they would suppress, our achievements
Here
and
we are.
things that we did. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Late?
I'm good. You made it too. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
What are we talking about?
Well, Alex was talking about the black women as professional wrestlers, back in the 60s and maybe even before then. And he was kind of surprised that that there were women, black women who were, professional wrestlers. And I was just telling them, back then, they would, the media would suppress,
That's true.
anything, that
I didn't
a
even
lot
know
of
about that. I'm
people
gonna
do.
be honest. I didn't even know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's, it's a good thing that he's bringing this out, because, that was, something that was suppressed. So I think it was, it's a good thing, Alex. It's a real good thing. By the way, I like the picture you got. I like the picture you got up there. That's cute.
Yes, it's nice.
That's
You
cute.
know, Floyd took my little avatar, this what I made with the little, and I had to go to the channel before his arrest, of course. I said, "Can you give me back my avatar?" He said, "I liked it. Yeah." I'm like, "No, I'm glad he did, because that'll look kind of crazy now."
Yeah. But yeah, Alex, you know what I mean? We were able to make it, we were able to make it here, saying definitely showing support. So yeah.
Well, I'm listening. Y'all go ahead. Y'all were on a roll.
Yeah. Go ahead, Alex. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, and I'm gonna show y'all another video that that has a picture of one of the black women wrestlers. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can do some real quick. Let's see. See. Okay, I'm guessing I'm gonna have to do it from this way. But I'm gonna show y'all a video of of a a picture of of one of the black women wrestlers from back then. And well, here we go.
For Hulk
Oh, she
Hogan,
wrestled in
Ethel
that?
Johnson, born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, was one of the earliest black women.
Oh, sorry. Oh, that was their early outfits of how they wrestled. Okay.
Yeah, that was the early outfits. Yeah, before they wear what they wear to the ring today. So
Okay.
For Hulk Hogan, Ethel Johnson, born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, was one of the earliest black women to break barriers in professional wrestling. She began training as a young teenager alongside her sisters Babs Wingo and Marva Scott, and she turned pro at just 16 years old. In the 1950s and 60s, during an era when segregation and discrimination were still powerful forces, Ethel electrified audiences across the country. Fans were amazed by her athleticism, lightning-fast drop kicks, high-flying moves, and the kind of energy that made her stand out in every match. She wrestled in major arenas, often in front of crowds of 10,000 or more, competing not only against other women, but against the limitations society tried to place on her. Despite the challenges, she carved out a career that lasted more than a decade, headlining shows and inspiring wrestlers who came after her. Along with her sisters, she helped prove that women had a place in the spotlight of sports entertainment. From her roots in Columbus to national stardom, Ethel Johnson's name remains legendary as a pioneer, a barrier breaker, and one of the true icons of early professional wrestling.
That's really interesting, Alex. That is
Yeah.
really interesting. I mean, all of the pictures breaking the barrier and things of that nature. I mean, that's great. You know what I mean? Like, that's definitely great. What you think, Miss Elite?
I think it was something. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Alex,
Yeah,
what
it's
did you
good.
think?
I thought the same way everyone else thought. I was surprised.
Okay. Was that the only clip you had?
If I could find another one, you know, I'm gonna try and find another one, and
Okay.
Yeah, that's good stuff, brother. You know what I mean? Like that's really,
Yeah.
really good stuff there, you know. Yeah. Yeah, definitely, it's good education, for people, later down the line, y'all check it out, you know, good information to know. Very, very educational there.
Yeah, it was. Is that it? That's the end of the live stream? Hello? Sorry.
no,
No, that's
no,
not no, that's not no. No.
You see,
the
No.
like,
live
is
stream,
everybody gone? Okay. What
yeah,
happened?
the live stream is still going.
Okay.
Um, I found this one. Hopefully, well, this will tell us more about. Uh, Now, what you see is the women's professional wrestlers of the day. So,
Okay, these are different. I wasn't sure they were okay. Yeah, they're different. Because I thought it was the same women at first. Okay. Okay. Oh, she was a gladiator.
mhm.
Okay. And she was like a pop star up there.
Yeah, yeah. See, they show different wrestlers from today.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, those are the current ones. Those are like more contemporary ones that are into the wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm. I mean, what are their names? I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know nothing about them. I just see different pictures.
oh, well, the first one was Sasha Banks, and she's the cousin of Snoop Dogg, and
Oh wow.
yeah, and the other one is Amber. The other one is Amber Moon, and she now goes by Athena because she's now on and she's now in the Ring of Honor, and and the one that the one that is in the the gladiator attire, that was her name was Awesome Kong, and
Mhm.
the one with the curly hair, that was Alicia Fox, and the one with the different ring attires, that is Brandy Rhodes. That is, she's married to Cody Rhodes.
Hey, what you said the one that's named Awesome what now?
That they named her Awesome Kong.
Awesome Palm?
Awesome Kong.
Awesome Calm, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Calm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
And one of them is Naomi. She's married to one of the Uso brothers. And
Who's the Uso? What's one of the Uso brothers? You can. I don't watch wrestling, so I don't know.
and Jimmy. She's
Jimmy.
married. Yeah, she's married to Jimmy Uso.
Oh, I still,
And
I'll go ahead and listen.
and the other woman with the red hair, that's Kiera Hogan.
Okay.
And the one with the she has contacts within her eyes, that is Amber Moon. But she now goes by Athena.
Okay.
Okay.
And and I'm gonna show y'all the final one. The final one is Bianca Belair. This right here is Bianca
You
Belair.
said she's the important one? I'm sorry. What did you say?
And this right here is
Mhm.
the last one that's Bianca Belair. And
Oh,
this
yeah,
one right
yeah.
and
Okay.
this one right here is dang, I've already forgot her name. Sapphire. Yeah, that was Sapphire that you saw after
Okay.
Bianca Belair.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
great
that's
stuff, brother.
interesting.
Great
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, great stuff, man. Like it's real interesting. And like I
It
said, really
is.
educational, real educational
'Cause I
stuff.
had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was and I was surprised at this, and then we have one with Jacqueline Moore, and
Mm-hmm.
hang on, let me.
Guys, welcome to Muscle Memory. My name's Malcolm. We're here at WrestleCon with Jacqueline. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So I'm standing next to you, history maker, trendsetter. Now let's talk about it. You're the first ever African American women's champion. What does that mean to you to be at such a historic moment within this business?
Well, you know what? It's I'm very honored about that. I paved the way for a lot of women today, and the women today are killing it right now. So I'm so happy they're getting more TV time. Back then, I didn't get that much TV time, but women today, they're getting the opportunity to shine, and I'm so happy about that.
Hey guys, welcome to Muscle Memory.
And
Well,
that
she's
was,
so happy. That's good.
yep, that was Jacqueline Moore. And she's a former women's champion.
All right.
So I think it'd really be like some real inspirational stuff for any women that may want to do that, or not sure. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of people to kind of look up to.
Yeah.
So yeah, good stuff, brother.
I think I found a match between well, yeah, I found a match and it was between Ramona Isabella and Ethel Johnson versus the Babs versus Babs Ringo and Martha Scott. And that's from the 1950s. That's where, it wasn't in full color yet. We didn't have TV.
All right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, let's see it, brother. By the way, fair use, everybody.
Right. Fair use.
Fair use.
Hang on, let me see. And all right.
Girls can stop such an awful fuss. Think what four can do. We'll see as four gals get together in the Boston Garden, iron out their differences via the wrestling route. Ramona Isbell and Ethel Johnson team up against Martha Scott and Bad Wingo. Martha Scott's on the receiving end of a flying mare. Out, and Martha's on her back again. There's a leg line resembling the same leg.
Well, it looks real. I know they do acting these days. That's what I heard. I don't know, but
yeah, a lot of those moves I've seen guys doing a lot of those moves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that.
Now wait a minute, is that real or fake? Now it's starting to look kind of
Yeah, it's sort of like a mix of
like a Three
acting.
Stooges type of thing. Oh, there we go. Okay, this
Yeah,
A haymaker thrown from Ramona Isbell. On the shot falls into the picture and can't seem to get on her feet. With a long range, should straighten out the whole situation. A quick twist to the wrist. Scott's arm is shot. The best move to take for a quick break is to wind up with the cover. Looks at a double treat when all four cats put in an appearance at the same time.
now the curiosity, were there any white women wrestlers at all?
Huh?
Were there any white women wrestlers at all during this time, or is it
Oh,
just
yeah. There were white
okay? I
women
just want to make
wrestlers.
sure because they was sitting in the audience looking feminine. Okay, I was just curious. I just want to make sure we all heard this.
right.
The referee breaks up the party before things get too serious. After a little shot to the stomach, Bat Wingo finally lets her fly a wallop and follows it up with a chokehold. Crowd gasps for air. Flying Mare and this gal is off to the races. The tag is made, but a brang knocks Wingo for a loop. That's again floored. That's only half the treatment. Right into the ropes and a flip sends the flying drop kick up. 2 in a row finishes Bat Wingo. It's all over for the team of Scott Wingo. Referee hits the mat for 3, announcing Ramona Isbell and
That was good right there.
leads the crowd as to
Yeah, that
Yep.
was a good one.
Yeah, that was good right there.
Yeah, that was a good one. When I found it, I was like, oh man, this is good. I wanted to see more matches that included Ethel Johnson and her sisters, but I couldn't. After that one, I couldn't find any more of it.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's okay. I mean, that was still pretty good to watch. So
Yeah, yeah, it was really interesting, real good to watch. A lot of those moves are moves that I see like today. You know what I
mhm.
mean?
Oh,
So
that's true.
she did some drop kicks and stuff, and yeah, that was a good match,
Oh, you
right?
watch wrestling?
Yeah, I used to watch. Yeah, I used to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I used to watch something called WCW. I used to watch that.
What is that?
World Championship Wrestling.
See, I
It
don't.
was from
Okay.
yeah, back in the 80s and 90s and stuff, but they kind of folded over, but after that, like I don't really watch the WWF, I don't
Mhm.
watch that one, but yeah, a lot of those moves were good moves.
Yeah.
Real good moves and really entertaining, but like you said, Miss Elite,
Mhm.
like I kind of wonder because if you notice the audience out there, like
Family.
mostly white
I'm
people,
just
they kind of
curious.
yeah, you know what, it can kind of come off as looking like something else,
Yeah. Because I know
so
with white
I am
feminism, they're very encouraging, but I want to make sure they join in too.
yeah, yeah.
That's all. That's all.
Mhm.
They,
But I'm gonna tell you, they were good performers, though. You
yeah,
know
they
what I mean? Like
were.
they
They
did their
were.
thing. Yeah, they did their thing out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot, it's to me, it's like, but why would they keep that certain history hidden? I mean, I get that. I get that Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks were the first black women to main event at WrestleMania. I understand that, but don't don't forget the ones who paved the way. That's
That's
what,
true. I agree. I agree with that. Kind of like I learned recently, there was a girl. She was a black woman, and part of her bandmates were Nirvana. And Nirvana is really popular back. He's still popular today. He passed away, but she was the one who he learned from, and others learned from. And she did rock and roll. I couldn't believe it, but they hid her story. But people are trying to bring it out. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
her
yeah.
story.
I think you're talking about
I can't remember her
Kurt
name.
Cobain. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Him,
think
right?
that's her name. I think that's her
Yeah.
name.
Well, that's his name, the Nirvana guy.
No, great, thank you. I'm talking
Yeah.
about the black lady. Yeah, his name was Nirvana, but it was a black woman. He was in that group with her. This is before
Mm-hmm.
his fame, though. I can't remember her name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Huh.
before his fame, it was some other white guys in the group. She had to fight audience because of racism. They didn't even stand up for her. They just watched on. I'm like, oh gosh.
Mm.
But yeah, her history is that people are trying to bring it out uh, because
Yeah, I
without
didn't
her,
even know that. I didn't even know that. You know what I mean? Like they don't talk,
mhm,
they don't like to talk about the influence like, black men or black women have
that's true.
on the culture. I mean, we've come up with a lot of inventions and stuff too,
Oh,
like,
that's
like the
true.
refrigerator. Like
Oh, I didn't
there's
know
so many
that.
things that yeah, but see what it is because black people were slaves and treated as property, that meant anything
Yeah,
that they invented
went to the owner.
it's treated, yep, went to their owner. Like that's really,
That's
really
it.
sad. But there's a lot of stuff that black people did. Like when they say that we built this country,
Mhm.
there's a lot of truth in that. Like there is a lot of truth in that. Like it's things that that we can do that, a lot of people still trying to figure out how. Just like the Egyptians, right? Think about the Egyptians. They're
Mhm.
still trying to figure out how they built those pyramids. They're still trying to
Right.
figure that out. Trying to figure out how they knew all this math and astronomy. How
Mhm.
how they knew all of that, like technical math,
Yep.
and that
They
was
didn't have
thousands
all
of
the
years ago.
technology we have today. They were just very
Yeah.
brilliant people.
Brilliant people. So yeah, great point. Yeah, good stuff, Alex. You know what I mean? Great stuff, brother. It's good to hear that, what I'm saying, that see that history. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You mm,
and the thing about it is that both Ethel Johnson and her sisters they faced racism. I don't know if any of you were here during the first video
no, I
that
was.
yeah, the first video that I've shown of a woman and a man on a talk show talking to a guy named Chris that's trying to do a documentary about Ethel Johnson and her sisters. He said that they faced race that both Ethel and her sister faced racism. And that was back in the 1950s and 60s.
Yeah, racism will never go away, but it's sad that it happens. It's sad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they did back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. I mean, it's probably more so then than now, but don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, it still happens today, but it's
Yeah,
more
back then it was
subtle.
more blunt. I'm
It was
not saying
more
it's not
blunt.
blunt now, but it was way more blunt and often.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
Much more common. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like the part of that at that part I was when I found out I legitimately wanted to cry because how can how can you be racist towards women who are professional wrestlers? And as we seen in that video of a tag team match with the women in inside the ring, they did better than probably most of the women wrestlers.
Yeah, that's the thing, Alex, is that it doesn't really matter how good you were. You know what I mean? It's just that your skin color
That's
was
it.
dark. You know what I mean? Like, you were
Mhm.
a black person, and that's all that, needed to be the case.
That's all they needed to know,
That's
pretty
all
much.
they needed to know, brother. And that's the unfortunate part. I mean, you could have been the best wrestler in the world, but if you were black, you weren't going to really get anywhere or get any attention. Like, a lot of that is really unfortunate, but that's how it was. And that's
Mhm.
how it still is, you know what I mean? For some folks, look, like it still happens here and there. But back then, oh yeah, all you had to do was just be a black person. It didn't matter if
Mhm.
you were a woman or a man, you were
Yeah.
going to get that work, so
Yes, you gonna get
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, you're gonna get that work. So, that's how Alex is that, although they were great at doing what they were doing, they were black. And see, that's the
Mhm.
problem. You know what I mean? That's where that was the crime that they committed, is that they were black. They were African American, or whatever you want to
Mhm. I
call it.
know we got different names now,
Yeah,
so
yeah, we got different names now. They
yeah.
want to, but anyway, yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, I mean, I know that like we had black men who were world heavyweight wrestling champions. Like,
Mhm.
you think about uh, when our truth, you know, came back in 2009. He was in TNA wrestling, and I looked up his accomplishments in that company. And the first thing I saw was he was a two-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion. I was like, wait a minute.
Wow.
You mean to tell me that Ron the Truth Killing of the Black Man was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, but he couldn't touch the WWE title? I was like, TNA treated him better than the WWE did at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, I mean, but what I say this is that, as a group, like, a lot of improvements have been made, as particularly in this country, when it
I
comes to that.
agree.
So we got a lot more, successful folks and more opportunities. And unfortunately, now what we're seeing is a lot of animosity between, black folks, darker skin versus light skin, that colorism,
Right. They got all types of isms. I
oh
was
yeah,
following
featureism, and
yeah, that one. I'm like, what the world? I mean, I think they're coming up with stuff at this point because it was this black girl and she was dark skinned on the other platform, and she was talking about colorism and how this and that. And then next minute, her video was like, "My features, I unfollow, ma'am. It's the same thing. Like, if you're going to be upset with the colorism part, this the same thing. So just leave people alone who are happy to be or hype up their light skin, you hype up your certain features and everybody, whatever you want to do. So I don't follow because it's about the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah, totally agree. You know what I mean? Like, there was a study, Alex. I remember this in college. They were talking about how, like, the nature of people is to always find differences, and that's really unfortunate. I think it's
That's
like a
true.
psychology like deal inside of people, right? So,
Hmm.
like, for an example, over in Africa, and this is the example that they use, like the Hutsi and Tutsi people, like those two tribes, they
Hmm.
look identical to us, like, as African
Yes.
Americans here, like they look
Mhm.
identical, but they know, like, slight differences amongst each other, and they were warring and killing each other just
Wow.
because, of those differences. And it's really, really, really unfortunate, you know what I mean, that,
Hmm.
it seems as though we're kind of falling into that, and as long as we do that, fall into it, we're not going to be able to get together and, like, make more important advances, as long as we're fighting with each other, over
Hmm.
featureism, colorism, so, like,
Hmm.
I'm hoping that at some point people kind of can work out like these major issues and differences, and that
Because they're
maybe
really minor. They're really minor.
very minor, very minor. Look, even with the genders, look, like
Mhm.
it's actually really minor. Like it's more of a personal thing, amongst an individual black man and an individual black woman, right? Like if y'all have issues, y'all got to work that out, but don't try to, generalize and collectivize and try to, cast aspersions on the entire group and then try to get others to go in there with you. No, that's not going to be productive. You know what I mean? So when you just work out your issue or whatever with that other person, or what I'm saying, seek the help that you need. Maybe that person seek the help that they need, and move forward. What I'm saying, with a new person. You know what I mean? Like that's really the like the like the crux of the issue. There's so many people available out here. Like there's no sense in getting stuck and getting angry and getting mad at somebody or whatever. Just work that out with whoever it is that you got an issue with, and then hey, move forward. So that's what I'm kind of hoping, brother, that folks can kind of get to just more self-improvement and getting educated, like what you got here, Alex. Like I think that was really educational. People can aspire to it, the younger women of today, if they want to get into that. You name some names there, and I'm glad Miss Elite kind of asked the question of who are these people, but you name the names and show some video there. Like, I mean, it's good stuff, brother. So like I'm really hoping that that's the direction that we can kind of all go together on, so yeah.
Right.
I got one more video of this to show, and then we can go into the next conversation. This one this one is Chris Barton. He's going to talk about the lady wrestler story, the unknown story of African American women in the ring. Yeah, I'm going to play the video, and remember everyone, fair use. And
fair use.
Here we go.
The idea of putting a black woman in the wrestling ring, a sexy, good-looking athlete who moved well, and pitting her against a white woman or another black woman, he just thought that was a way to really attract the crowds and really attract the buzz. It worked.
Yes, Mike from Real Black Men. We're with a great brand new filmmaker here in Philadelphia, debuting his latest film. Please introduce yourself.
Chris Bournet. I'm the writer and director of Lady Wrestler, the amazing untold story of African American women in the ring.
Now, I just saw the film. Great job.
Thank you.
A lot of information that I never knew before. And I have to commend you because, I mean, we're kindred spirits in the sense of reclaiming our history. For those who weren't here tonight, tell folks about your project.
Yeah, so it's this really little known part of Black history. It's about African American women who were world famous professional wrestlers back in the 1950s and 60s. They went all over the world, all over the United States. They went to places like Australia and Latin America and Japan and Canada. And when they would travel abroad, they did experience some racism, but not like they did here in the States, especially in the South. They'd have to go in the backdoor restaurants and stay in segregated hotels because of the Jim Crow segregation.
Okay, well, give us some of the names.
Yeah, so I interviewed Ethel Johnson. She was really the top African American female wrestler of her day back in the 1950s and 60s, Ramona Isbell. And I interviewed the children of actually Ethel's younger sister, Marva, Kim, Martin, and James Black. And actually their older sister, Babs Wingo, we also mentioned her history in the documentary as well, because she was really one of the first, if not the first, African-American female wrestler who was recruited by Billy Wolf, who was a white man, who was a promoter, but was inspired by Jackie Robinson to start integrating women's wrestling. He thought, just as Jackie Robinson brought attention and excitement to baseball, bringing Black women into professional wrestling would bring excitement and kind of sensationalism to wrestling, and it did. That was part of his marketing strategy.
So, Chris, I mean, what was your inspiration for wanting to make this film?
So I think the inspiration for wanting to make Lady Wrestler, the documentary, is that I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, where these women, most of these women lived and where Billy Wolf had his training facility. And I never knew about these women, even though I'm African American, until a friend of mine, another African American man who works in public relations, Terry Anderson, said, "Hey, why don't you interview this lady I grew up with, who turned out to be Ethel Johnson?" I just thought, if I don't know about these women, I grew up in the same city in which they lived. I'm African American. Think of how many millions of people out there don't know their story. And I just think their story needs to be preserved and documented for future generations to know about, and for their accomplishments to be recorded for history's sake.
Right. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, it's like another Hidden Figures
Absolutely.
type story. This could go even further.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, but like in terms of research, what were your discoveries? Where did you find the old footage and clippings and things?
So it's kind of an interesting story. I started out at the same newspaper where Will Haygood, he's an African American journalist and author. He wrote the article that the movie The Butler with Forrest Whitaker and Oprah Winfrey were in. So we both started out at an African American newspaper called the Call and Post. He now works for the Washington Post, and he periodically comes back to the office, and we struck up a friendship. And so I was telling Will about this interview I'd done with Ethel Johnson, and he said, "Funny you say that, because my colleague Jeff Lean, he wrote a book about Mildred Burke, who was Billy Wolf's wife. You should get with Jeff Lean and find out. You two should compare notes." So when I talked to Jeff Lean, he said, "If you're really serious about researching the history of women's wrestling, you should go to the University of Notre Dame." So I went there. They have this huge library devoted to nothing but wrestling history. There were just boxes and boxes and boxes of old press clippings, letters between the promoters and the women. I found a lot of the footage from online film archives, and also the wrestlers' children had some of their old matches on film as well. So it was just a matter of just like kind of piecing together a lot of different pieces that I found in different places.
Excellent. So, you know, for those who are, you know, like, if there's one or two things that you would want people to take from the film, what would it be?
I would want them to take that African American women back in the 1950s and 60s, when African Americans were really just beginning to rise up in the civil rights movement. These women were going all over the world. They were taking stands. A lot of times they were refusing to wrestle when venues would not let in Black wrestling fans. They were going to places like Cuba and Mexico and dealing with discrimination there, but they were tough. They were mentally tough. They were physically tough. So this tells a story about African American women and the strength that African American women have always traditionally had. And they were on a world stage. And I feel like their story needs to be documented, because a lot of these women, unfortunately, have fallen into obscurity, and they can continue to inspire people if their story gets out there.
Right. And for those interested in seeing the film, where can they catch it?
The website, ladywrestlermovie.com. It will have a list of upcoming screenings as well as the release date for DVD and streaming. So ladywrestlermovie.com is the place to find out all about these women and their history and the movie itself.
I can hook them with my foot. I can hook them this way. Hook them that way.
I'll be back. Something just came up. I'll be back. Keep pushing play. I'll be right back.
These type of things lots of girls didn't do. I worked in since they say mostly like the guy.
I'm Chris Bourdain, the writer and director of Lady Wrestler, the amazing untold story of African American women in the ring, and you're watching Real Black.
Yeah, good stuff, brother. Good stuff. I like that he kind of broke that down. He kind of broke it down and had an explanation. Talked about a lot of the people. He's kind of interviewing folks. So, you know, some really interesting stuff, brother. Really, really interesting stuff.
Yeah, and you know, as I said before, and I'll say again, it's like in my opinion, I believe that this part of history should be told. That's what I believe. Because it's not right to, you know, have the women of professional wrestling go. Matter of fact, the Black women who was a part of integrating women's wrestling to go into obscurity. To me, it's wrong because that's like forgetting about the ones that came before the black women wrestlers of today.
That's right, brother. You know what I mean? Like, look, like just like I was saying like earlier, you like it's good that you're putting this up here. It's good for people to, get educated. It's good for people to see like the history, all of that. Like it's really, really important. You know what I mean? Like it's good stuff, brother. Like I really liked it here. Like it's really fun and you got some great topics, brother. You know what I mean? So, I want to encourage you to keep, keep it up and keep going. I think you said you had another topic or something you wanted to talk about. What was the next topic, brother?
Oh yeah. The next topic is why certain the black men who were wrestlers didn't make it to the top of the professional wrestling industry. And I got a little short video, to show. Let me see. All right, here it is. Let me go ahead.
Asked me if the reason some of our brothers never made it to the top was just racism. Racism is real. Doors were slammed in our faces. But that ain't the whole story. Some of us never had mentors to show the route. Some didn't have. Asked me if the reason some of our brothers never made it to the top was just.
Okay, yeah. Great video. That I agree with that. Like it's an issue, and it's been a systemic thing too. And it's been going on for a long time. Like that's the reason why, a lot of brothers can't get like in certain areas also, like even today, in some cases. I mean, it's more like chances like these days and the more opportunities, but it's still there. But definitely what he was saying there in the video is definitely true. Like that is a reason why. I think like generally, like Alice, if you think about wrestling, like uh, it's a lot of white folks that do that, and it's a lot of white folks that are like really into it, like they like to watch it. If you ever like watch the WWF like match, right, or a WCW match, you notice that in the audience it's basically like full of white folks, bro. Like it's just a whole bunch of white folks up there, and they're fanatics, not just regular, just people watching. These people like are really into it. They buy the merchandise. They of course they bought the ticket. They're supporting, and I think that's another like issue too, is that like it's not really all that popular among a lot of black folks, although black folks do it, and some do watch it. But I think that like it could be also that the sheer numbers, right, is more so on their side. And what I mean by there are the white folks. So it's more on their side as far as the numbers, but I think that might be one reason.
And not only that, but I see on YouTube there are content creators like black women and black men. They're lending support to the wrestlers and stuff. And but uh, from what I'm seeing, I don't see much of that happening, on our side like it is on the white side. To tell you the truth, I actually seen a white man, you know, actually, actually going to bat for a black wrestler to be pushed to the main event scene.
Yeah, that's a great point, brother. Great point.
Because I've seen a channel called Black Couch Booking, and he goes to bat for pretty much everybody, but mostly black wrestlers, and especially black women, because at the end of the day, he supports black wrestlers, but he also supports other wrestlers too. The main thing is, you know, he's happy that Jade Cargill, who is a black woman, is the women's champion on SmackDown right now. But the fact that they didn't even let her defend the title until this past Friday, it irks my nerves, and it also made him mad as well, to the point that he was saying, bring the women from Raw, from Raw over to SmackDown, so she'll have opponents. But it doesn't work like that. She will have to defend the title against the women within the SmackDown roster. The only exception is the Royal Rumble winner. So,
Oh, okay, brother. I'm glad. You know what? That is kind of a irking. That would irk me too. You know what I mean? Not letting her defend her title. So they're not letting her actually like. So what they gonna do with the title, brother? Like, so how they gonna like work that out? Do you know how say what they plan on doing with that?
well, there are two Elimination Chamber matches that is happening at the Elimination Chamber, and since Roman Reigns chose CM Punk for to fight for the world heavyweight title, there's an Elimination Chamber match to see who goes on to WrestleMania to face Drew McIntyre for the undisputed WWE Championship. Now, already we have Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes in there. I think there are two more. I think there are a few more spots that needs to be filled, but I don't know who's going to be the one that would fill those spots. But if the Royal Rumble winner on the women's side goes for Raw's women's world title, then well, something tells me that somehow, some way, we're going to get Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair, and we would have two black women face off for a title and for the women's title at WrestleMania this year.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Well, that's really really interesting. Alex, look, brother. Thank you so much for having me, brother. I had a great time over here, brother. Like it was a great topic, and look forward to seeing you again. Okay, bro.
All right,
All right. Peace, brother.
peace. Okay, everyone. That's it for today. I want to thank Miss Elite and David Banner for coming. But yeah, this is a this right here is a good was a good live stream, and black women that were in professional wrestling back then, their stories have to be told, because if not, then their stories will cease to exist, and then they will find a way to create, you know well twist the story around, you know. But yeah, like I said, again, I want to thank everyone for coming. Make sure to like, comment, and share this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the notification bell whenever I go live. And with that, I'm I'm signing off, and now we'll see y'all next Saturday. Y'all take care and make sure you call your loved ones and make sure you tell them you love them, and also make sure you make sure and also make sure that you know that the ones you love are doing good. And with that, I want to bid everyone good night. And before I play the outro, I'm gonna go ahead and play a video, one last video for you guys. One last video. And it's right here. One last video. And before I play it, I want y'all to know that this right here is AI. So here we go. Wait. Let me make sure. Wait. Let me make sure. Okay. Here we go. Now your new WCW World Heavyweight Champion is in this ring, and I'm telling you, being on top ain't a free pass. Too many men think success means taking without giving back. Now, a real champ holds himself accountable. I fight for my now your new WCW World Heavyweight Champion. That was an AI video of that, and yeah, if I do make it into professional wrestling, I'll make sure that y'all will be the first to know. But yeah, and well, I'm gonna play at least one more. At least one more. You know, when we talk about ego, especially a black man's ego, it isn't about losing pride. It's about keeping it in check. That ego can't be the reason we don't say sorry, the reason we don't listen, the reason we when we talk about ego. Yeah, I just wanted to show you guys those videos real quick. But yeah, like I said, I want to thank everyone for coming, and until next time, peace. uh, And well, peace and happiness. I'll see y'all on next Saturday. Peace, everyone. Let me go ahead.